what would you do differently if you could turn back time?
Oh, everything. Absolutely everything. It's again, like I outlined a lot of this in the blog post, but I think the first thing is, before even considering selling, right, is I would restructure how I thought about running the business.
Mm-hmm.
So I started by saying, okay, I want to do X, right? With X being like not deal with the people who I didn't want to deal with. And I was like, so the solution is throw everything away so that I don't have to like deal with them, right? And take the money and then try again. And like, that's a very extreme solution, right? And instead, I think what I should have said is like, hey, here's the thing I want to do, right? What is the minimum I actually need to do to achieve it, right? So for example, hire a CEO. That could have been the minimum to achieve it, right? Like hire someone to be the CEO, check in with them once a month to make sure everything's on board, use the free cap. And just for context also, my business was 100% bootstrapped and very cash flow positive, right? So it was like, had plenty of money to do whatever I want with, had no investors that I had to go and, appease anything, right? So like, could have just hired a CEO, let them kind of run it, whatever. Could have hired, the business had different parts of it, and it was really just one, well, let's say two out of the three parts that I didn't want to deal with. I could have hired general managers to manage those parts of the business, right? I could have gone to therapy and talked with a therapist about my emotional problems of dealing with like
Yeah.
the parts of the business, right? I could have hired a business coach.
Mm-hmm.
One of the downsides of not having investors was there was no board, right? So there was nobody to call me on my own BS, right? Like I was the end all be all. So I could have hired a paid board, right? Whose job was to challenge me and hold me accountable and all these things. I could have sold part of the company and not all of it, right? I could have run again, like I could have hired better representation throughout the sales process. There's like the spectrum of everything I could have done is literally everything other than what I did, because I took such a extreme and narrow kind of approach to solving things.